So by the indiscriminate union of the two, the indiscriminate union of the two refers to the union of spirit and matter. The spirit is the Purusha, the matter is Prakriti. Another word, don't need to get confused. Spirit and matter, Purusha and Prakriti. He describes it, existence, intelligence. These are the attributes or aspects of the Atman, the self, and the functions of the intellect. Buddhe vrittritidvayam. So the function of the intellect. So when these two, which is the existence intelligence, which is the qualities of the Atman, and the buddhi, the intellect, come together, there arises the notion of I know. Janamiti. Janami means I know. Iti pravartate. Thus arises, there arises the notion of I know. Right, sir. So this was the verse that we spoke of. Now, what we mention that the thought arises as far as we are concerned. We all know we have vasanas. Am I right? We all have vasanas. But the realization or knowing or the experience of a vasana, the fact that you come to know that you have a vasana appears at the thought level. Vasana is nothing but a seed. Imagine a seed which is under the soil. It's not seen, it's unmanifest. Vasana is understood to be unmanifest. It doesn't manifest itself. It is an unmanifest form. But when the vasana manifests itself, it manifests itself as a thought. We mentioned the thought as sankalpa. The thought manifests in the intellect. Therefore, we said, you can say thought and intellect are synonymous, right? Now, when that thought starts expressing and further manifests itself, the thought becomes a desire, and desire is the realm of the mind. All right? And thereafter, the further manifestation or further fructification of this desire expresses as action at the physical level. So the vasana is unmanifest. It first manifests as a thought at the intellect. It becomes a desire at the mind, action at the physical level. All right. Now, this all is the element of matter. All this comes under matter. And the other side, you have the Atman, the self. So When there is the union of the Atman plus the intellect. Now, what you must understand, intellect is nothing but thoughts. Okay. Now, just for discussion's sake, let's say you all are Atman. Okay. You all are the pure Atman, the pure consciousness. Okay. Now, I am a bundle of thoughts because I'm the only one making too much noise. You're all very quiet. You are the Atman, you're the Sakshi. You all are the Atman, and I am a bundle of thoughts. So when you come to this classroom, you have come as a pure, unconditioned consciousness. I just try to be very careful. The choice of words is very calculated. You come as the pure, unconditioned consciousness, all of you. And what am I? I am nothing but a bundle of thoughts. That's all. I'm just telling about a bundle of thoughts. Now, when there is this union between the pure, unconditioned consciousness plus the thoughts which I'm throwing at you, what will be the outcome of that union of the pure Atman, which is each one of you, plus the thoughts I'm throwing at you? The union of the two will be the notion of I know. Isn't it? So when you present yourself as the pure, unconditioned consciousness, which is known as the I, the pure I is the unconditioned consciousness, which sadly we are not able to experience it. We do not know what the pure, unconditioned I is. And when the thoughts are thrown at you, the I, which is the pure consciousness, the unconditioned consciousness, plus the thoughts that is united, which is thrown at you, there comes a notion I know. So I plus thoughts equals I know. You may even now also you may choose to say, sir, I don't know what you're saying. That also is a union of pure consciousness plus the thoughts. Whether you know or whether you don't know is nothing but a union of the pure consciousness plus the thoughts. Now, what is this I know? I know is known as the conditioned consciousness. When the pure consciousness is conditioned with a conditioning element, the conditioning element here is the thoughts. So the pure consciousness plus the thoughts equals I know, which is the conditioned consciousness. Conditioned consciousness is known as the jiva. It is the individual, which is you. This is all, he said. Now you remember the diagram I had shown you all? Yeah, America. Again, I'm showing for those of you who don't understand. Are you able to see it? So one is the consciousness, C is the pure consciousness, which is the incident ray, and the reflected ray is the I know. But when the pure consciousness strikes a trough of thoughts, comes the notion, I know. That's all. Now, we all have never experienced that state of pure consciousness. We don't understand what the pure consciousness. We are not able to maintain the purity of the I. So pure consciousness, or it's also called as pure awareness. We are not able to maintain that purity of the pure consciousness and pure awareness because we are constantly conditioning the I. We are not able to say, I am, that I am. We constantly say, I am so-and-so. I am healthy. I am an Indian. I am this. I am that. I am a prince. I am this. So constantly we are conditioning the I. But if you are able to hold on to that high without anything conditioning it, that state is known as pure realization or self-realization. Just for information, what that state is. Anyway, you don't understand, but a little further confusion to it doesn't matter because you can't understand that state. It's a pure state. Now, the verse is only saying this is an indiscriminate union because it's not possible. How can the transcendental marry the terrestrial? In the next verse also there's a further explanation of that. There can't be a marriage between sentient and insentient. How can there be a marriage between spirit and matter? But is this indiscriminate union? How can ignorance and knowledge coexist? They cannot coexist. But when these two come, there comes about the creation of the individuality, which is the ego. Now, having given you an insight, now I want to ask you all, any doubts? Now, Padminama has already asked a question. Are the thoughts stimulated by external factors? What do you mean by that? What are you asking here?
The pure Atman is so pure that it is unadulterated. Can I say like that? Okay.
Yes.
Then what happens is when it comes into contact with thoughts, so thoughts should arise somewhere. There should be some reason for the thoughts to come, to manifest. Just like you said, when a student approaches the teacher first, he's totally ignorant of what he's going to learn in the class. The teacher says something and then something gets into the mind of the student. Then the mind becomes conditional. So I always think in the way I am taught. So that's why I'm asking, the thoughts are just like that, it springs from nowhere or it comes from because of some other factors. How does a thought come? I cannot have a thought about which I have no idea, like about Atman and all. Probably I would not have thought of it when I was in school or in college I would have heard of it, but I never knew. After listening to like a series of talks, something has gone into my mind. Now I can look at things differently. So that's a thought process coming.
Right. I got your question very clear. That's why I wanted to understand where you're coming from. Okay. Now, if you carefully followed what I said in the beginning, I said Vasana is the seed and Vasana is unmanifest. From the unmanifest seed comes the first manifestation as a thought. So it is impossible for a thought to manifest without a seed being present. So to answer your question, where does this thoughts crop up from? The thoughts crop up because you have vasanas. If you have no vasanas, there's no thought. For example, when you go to deep sleep, we have said there are no vasanas there. All your vasanas are actually asleep. So when your vasanas are in their seed form, all of us experience a certain quietude, a certain peace, a certain sanctity. So there is no thoughts at all. Why? Because the vasanas all have gone into a unmanifest state. They all are put in a cold storage. It's all put in a compartment and locked up. And the moment they partially manifest, you have certain dreams. And many a time, your dreams are very much familiar to your experiences as a waker, isn't it? There is some connection to your experiences. It's not that you suddenly, Padmini Ma, have you ever dreamt yourself of to be a 20-year-old girl somewhere in a European country? Have you ever had dreams like that? We can't hear you, Ma. Could you just unmute yourself, please?
No, as a school girl, I wanted to become an astronaut like Valentina Tereshkova. I have never seen her. I have never seen an astronaut, but there was a dream in my mind. I have never come into contact with such an atmosphere or such a thing which would have created such a thought in me. Probably I have heard of her. I don't say that. And maybe probably because that was the time when the man landed on moon for the first time. So such things would have made me think like that. Probably that's what I'm saying. It's an external factor. Probably this, I don't know whether the seed was inside me without knowing that there's like space and you can go to the space, you can land on the moon and other things. How will I know? How will such an idea come into my mind?
See, is it not possible that you have a vasana towards a subject like astronomy?
Yeah.
It is possible, isn't it?
Probably.
See, you could have a vasana towards aeronautics. You could have vasana towards engineering. You could have vasanas towards interior designing. You could have vasanas towards philosophy. You could have vasanas towards music. You're a musician. You could have vasanas towards anything for that matter. So when you find the world sends a stimuli, there is a reaction with it.
That is what.
But it is not.
Stimulus is from outside.
No doubt the stimuli comes from outside. But it's not necessary all the time that the stimuli is required for a vasana to manifest. The vasana itself is so strong.
It might come.
It manifests. It manifests. It takes you to an environment. Like, for example, you're hungry.
Yeah.
And you're out. You're not at home and you're hungry. So what would you do? You would find out, hey, I don't want to have the same South Indian food every day I have at home. Let me try something different. And the moment those thoughts come, where do your thoughts go? Only where your vasanas for. You would not want to eat Russian food. I ask you, why would you not want to eat Russian food? Best Russian food is available. Would you ever want to have? Pure vegetarian, nothing non-veg about it. No, thank you. I don't want to try all that. It may be nice, but no. Why? Where would your thoughts go? The thoughts are always in line to the vasanas you have. But that doesn't mean you will not create fresh vasanas. You always keep adding to that list of fresh vasanas with your new experiences in life. That's always a possibility. But all what we will understand is vasana manifests as thoughts. So it comes from there. And then the rest is what you understand. Okay? Desire and action. All right? Ushama, have you got over the concept of the union of the Atman and the intellect?
Yes, yes.
Clear?
Yes.
Right.
Thank you, Guruji.
Yes, ma'am. Any questions, clarifications here? Rajima? All okay?